Hello Booktube, welcome to LizziefayeLovesBooks. I'm Elizabeth, and today I'd like to bring you my week 3 wrap-up for middle grade May Reads Readathon that is hosted by Akoss, and also my own challenge to read a book a day in the month of May. Well, today as I'm filming this, it's late in the afternoon on May 18th, and I have finished 18 books so far this month, 18 middle grade books, and I've made decent progress in my 19th book. So I'm really happy about my progress. I'm on track to complete a book a day in May, and I'm really excited about it. It does look like now that I am going to just continue to read middle grade books all the way through the month. Two of the books that I finished this week were books that were not on my original TBR, but they were talked about by a couple of other booktubers, and so I decided to add those. There really are just plenty of middle grade books that I wanted to read. They were on my TBR, so I'm not going to have any trouble filling the rest of the month with middle grade books. So in this video I'd like to tell you about books 13 through 18, and then I'll tell you what my 19th book is, and if I finish it before I get this video uploaded, then I will probably insert a little bit to tell you what I thought of that. And just to give you an update on my one adult book that I've been reading this month, this is The Land of Fainted Caves by Jean M. Auel. I only have about 200 pages left in this book, but I have not picked it up at all this week. So I have no progress to report, but I really do want to finish this by the end of the month. Now, I don't remember exactly what order I read these in, and I really have not been just going from one book to the next. I like to keep multiple books going at one time, and so as long as I'm finishing a book a day, that's fine. And even if I finish 2 books in one day and then don't finish anything the next day, that's fine too. As long as I end the month with at least 31 books, I'm happy and I'll feel like I have reached my goal. I read the 5th book in the Diary of a Wimpy Kid series called The Ugly Truth by Jeff Kinney. This is laugh out loud funny. The whole series so far, it's just been hilarious, and I definitely recommend it, especially to kids who maybe don't like to read, because there's so many illustrations mixed in with the text that you feel like almost like you're reading a comic book, and it's just fun. And this one's almost the same way. There are so many drawings and doodles and just unique format with this book, with this series, that again, this is a great book for kids who don't like to read. This is also the 5th book in this series, Princess Label Maker to the Rescue. It's one of the Origami Yoda books by Tom Engelberger, and I highly recommend this series. The Star Wars of it all is great, and each book really just has an excellent story. Another book that I just thought was excellent, this is the 3rd book in the Penderwick series, The Penderwicks at Point Muette by Jean Birdsall. This has been my favorite so far of the Penderwicks books. Just delightful. And the next 2 I didn't have on my original TBR, but I read The Lunch Witch by Deb Luck. I heard about this from Laura from Mom to Triplets 04. She works in a school cafeteria, and so she read this month as well. Just from the look of it, I thought it was going to be about a crabby older cafeteria lady, and I was surprised to find that it actually is about a witch. I mean, a fictitious witch, but the premise is that this actual witch was out of work and she takes a job at a school cafeteria. So the story goes from there. This was kind of gross. It wasn't really my type of book. I can appreciate it for what it is, but it wasn't really the type of story or the type of artwork that I enjoy. Like I said, it was kind of gross, but not bad. And if you like stories about witches that are kind of funny, comical, then you might enjoy this one. And then here's another one that I didn't know about before. I heard about this from Jane Catherine on Books. I was reading a couple of other Sharon Creech books last week, and she mentioned that she had read this one as well, and it's called Replay. It's about a young boy, I believe he's Italian, he's part of a big family. Him and his brothers and sister are all involved in different types of activities. His older siblings are into sports, he's into theater, and his younger brother is a musician. And so it's kind of the story about their family and just all the different activities of their family. And interspersed throughout it, our main character Leo has different fantasies that are involving the actual events that's taking place in his life. So on audio, which is how I read this book, it was a little tricky to realize when it switched from the reality story to the fantasy story. really the only way that you could tell was because all of a sudden it would be really far-fetched. And it was cute, it was sweet. There were some bittersweet moments. I did enjoy it. It wasn't my favorite Sharon Creech, because I've said before, my favorite Sharon Creech is Ruby Holler. But I did enjoy it, and I thank you, Catherine, for telling me about it. And then I just finished the 5th book in the Wolves of the Beyond series by Catherine Lasky called Spirit Wolf. The story picks up where the previous book left off, and it just continues the story. The big thing in this book is an earthquake, which really kind of shakes everything up, obviously, and it really makes the life as they knew it in the previous books turn a big corner, and life as they knew it is completely different, and a lot of things that they have been doing for centuries is now changed. So that's interesting. The wolves and the one owl that's in this book are now having to take a journey across the country to get to another area, because where they have been is riddled with cracks and crevices from the earthquake. It's got some very intense nail-biting moments. I didn't find myself engrossed in this one as much as some of the earlier ones, but still a very compelling story, and I am looking forward to moving on to the last book and finishing this series. So that's all I've finished so far at this point. On ebook on my Kindle, I have started Afternoon of the Elves by Janet Taylor Lyle, and I'm just a little ways into it at this point. I have started the Darkest Rising sequence. I was not originally planning to reread Oversea Under Stone, and when I picked up this bind-up, I was going to just skip to the last chapter and just kind of refresh myself, but instead I went to the beginning with the idea that I would just kind of skim through it, but I just kind of started reading it, and it's really slow going. Even though I've read it all, I'm going to have to just make myself just kind of skim through and just go, because I know the story. I've listened to it on audio, and I think when I had the audio of it, I listened to some of the tapes a couple of times. So I'm pretty sure that there's enough of the story in my head that I could continue on, but I just, for some reason, just feel like, this is one big book, so I have to start at the beginning. I don't know. So I'm going to at least flip through the pages and kind of refresh myself of some of the details, and then hopefully we'll be able to move on into the book 2, which is Darkest Rising, and finish it during this next week, and maybe even the 3rd book, which is Greenwich. I don't think I'll get any more in this series than that done in May, but I would like to finish this whole 5-book series by the end of the year if possible. And then because I was listening to this on audio on Hoopla on my phone, I finished it earlier, and I decided to go ahead and start another audiobook that I also had on Hoopla, and it is Vespers Rising. It's the 11th book in the original 39 Clues series that I had somehow missed, because I went from book 10 of the original 39 Clues into Cahill's versus Vespers, book 1, and I've read the first 2 of those without realizing that there was a book 11. And now that I've started it, it seems like it's going to be more of a prequel to who the Vespers are, and maybe the very early Cahills. So we're going to get a little bit of a history of why the Vespers are the adversaries of the Cahills. So I think it'll be an interesting book. It is written by Rick Riordan, Peter Larangis, Gordon Corman, and Jude Watson, who are all authors of the various 39 Clues books. And then after that, I have one last audiobook on Hoopla that's borrowed and ready to go, and that is the 6th book in the Wolves of the Beyond series. So I hope to be able to finish off that series this month. And then I've got 4 other print books that are on my immediate TBR that I would like to finish before the end of May. I have The Junkyard Dog by Erica Tamar, Among the Barrens by Margaret Peterson Haddock, PSB 11 by Rita Williams Garcia, and Crispin at the Edge of the World by Avi. Including these, I'm not sure how many that adds up to, but if it doesn't add up to 31, then I'll pick up another Diary of a Wimpy Kid book or something that's quick and fun like that. So this is my TBR for the rest of May and the Middle Grade May Reads Readathon. It's been a lot of fun, and it's not too late to join in. There's still plenty of time to read some middle grade books. So be sure that you check out Akoss's Goodreads group, and I will link it down below, and also her channel. She's awesome. She reviews a lot of middle grade books, and she's just a really sweet person. So that's all I have for this video. I hope you're having a great day. Read a good book, and God bless you.